These 10 questions are primarily for two kinds of people. One, people who are private security company owners and want to scale their company and become an industry leader. And two, people who aspire to become a private security company owner. For both these kinds of people, it is important to find answers to all these 10 questions. The sooner you find answers, the better it is. And you may choose to skip this video, but if not today, tomorrow you will be faced with a situation where you will have to find the answers to these 10 questions. So let's begin. Question number one. Am I a business person or a security professional? See, in my interaction with stakeholders in the industry, I've come across two types of people. People who are passionate about business, and then people who are passionate about security. And somebody who's passionate about business need not necessarily be as passionate about security. And somebody who's really good at security need not necessarily be as good in business. So you must answer this question for yourself. Who are you? Are you a business person or are you a security professional? And once you have answered this question, you must realize that you require both if you really want your private security company to become an industry leader. You need a combination of a business person and a security professional. So let's say if you are a business person, then find a co-founder. Find somebody who can bring the security aspect in for your private security company. And if you are a security professional, then you do security. Let somebody else who's really good at business handle those aspects for you. And by the way, it is going to be extremely hard if you want to operate as a combination of these two things by yourself. So get somebody who complements your skill set. Question number two. Do I understand the compliance requirement in this industry? See, private security as an industry is extremely regulated in most parts of the world. If I speak about India, PSARA is the license that you have to go for. So if you are in India and planning to set up a private security company, I've done a separate video about how you can apply for PSARA, and I'll link it in the description below. But regardless of where you are in the world, I'm sure there are certain regulations, rules that are applicable to you. So do you know what the compliance requirement is? Because compliance will take both your time and money. So if you're not budgeting for that kind of investment in compliance, you will soon enough run out of time and money trying to meet these compliance related issues. So before you even think about scaling, check whether you are 100% compliant or not. And believe me that any big business, any big organization in the world has to be compliant, because the bigger you become, the more eyeballs you attract. So today, if you are cutting corners with compliance, tomorrow you will have to suffer. So it's better to inculcate these practices where you ensure that non-compliance is not part of your business in any aspect. The third question is people management one of my core skill sets? See, we are in the age of AI, we are in the age of automation, but private physical security is one industry, is one function where humans, where people will always assume center stage. So if you don't know how to effectively manage people, it is going to be a tough journey for you. So understand the stakeholders that are involved, right? On one hand, you have your team, which again consists of people. You have your security guards, supervisors, etc. On the other side, you have the end client, which again consists of people. You have decision makers, you have admin people, etc. On the third side, you have government authorities. That again consists of people. So regardless of which stakeholder you are interacting with, at the end of the day, it is going to be a human interaction. So if you are not really good at people management, you must work on this skill set of yours. Fourth question, very important. Who is my ideal client? Now, more often than not, what really happens is that anybody who runs a private security company, they try to offer their services to everybody, to schools, to malls, to hospitals, to corporate offices, and even to individuals, right? In doing so, what they end up with is an extremely diluted brand positioning and service offering. Why that happens is because if you don't know who is it in the vast market that you want to speak to, you will try to speak to everybody in the market. And trust me, when you try to speak to everybody, you end up speaking to nobody. So you have to first decide in your mind that who is going to be your ideal client. Is it going to be a school? Then what kind of school? What is the scale of that school? How many students does that school have? What is the kind of fee structure that that school have? What is the kind of socio-economic background of the students and the teachers who are part of that school? What is the geography of that school? What are the peculiar problem sets that the school has that you can solve as a security provider and solve in a manner that sets you apart from other security providers in the industry? So you have to go for depth instead of breadth. So pick one ideal client profile and dig deep into the pain points. Know the pain points of your ideal clients like nobody else does, so that you can provide security services to them like nobody else can. Fifth question, we are already halfway through. What is it that will differentiate me for my ideal client profile from thousands of other private security companies? Right? At the end of the day, it is a cutthroat world out there. It's extremely competitive to an extent where security services have been commoditized. Right? So you have to work on differentiators. You have to work on those value proposition of yours which set you apart from the crowd. Right? And that has to appeal to your ideal client. So going back to our example of schools, what is it that you can offer to your ideal client school that nobody else can in the market? Do you have an understanding or a client insight that is so unique that helps you create an offering which makes you unique in return? Sixth question is, where will I get the distribution of my ideal client profile? What this means is that your ideal client profile, whoever that is, right? Even if that is a school, ultimately it is going to be a person in that school, right? The decision maker in that school. Where is it in the market that this person is going to hang out? Where are you going to come across this kind of a person? Is it at a conference? Is it at an event? Is it at your local cafe? Is it at a fitness center? Could be anywhere, right? It totally depends on who your ideal client profile is. So you have to understand the point where you will get hold of this ideal client profile of yours and start advertising or start marketing yourself on those platforms. For instance, let's say your ideal client profile, whoever they may be, hang out more on LinkedIn compared to Instagram, right? So if today you are spending more marketing efforts on Instagram, but your ideal client profile is not there as much, then it is all going to waste, right? So you have to understand where your ideal client is hanging out and then optimize your presence on that platform. It could be a physical or a digital platform. Seventh question, again extremely important, but often ignored by most. It is, can I tangibly track my client's satisfaction? Now, a lot of people will say that we look at Google reviews, but I personally believe that it is not a good indication of the real performance of a private security company, right? So, are there any systems or processes in place that help you measure the client satisfaction, right? Are you taking feedback in a manner that is smart? Smart is specific, measurable, accurate, relevant, and timely. Are you able to analyze the feedback over time? Are you able to observe any trends or patterns in client feedback and ratings, right? So if you don't have that kind of data coming in, which is useful, which is analyzable, then you must work on setting up those systems for you. Because till the time you're not able to quantify the client satisfaction, you will never be able to address the specific pain points that your clients have. On an overall level, the client might come across as super happy with your services, but the moment the contract comes up for renewal, you will see the client backing out, right? And then you'll realize that there were gaps that you were not able to spot in time. That is one. Second is that a great indicator of client satisfaction is referrals. So, are you tracking any metrics around referral? One, of course, is the net promoter score. And as I've said in my previous video, it is the most important metric for a private security company to track. If you have not seen that video, I'll put it in the description below. Right? So if you are not tracking NPS, which is net promoter score, you must start doing that. The second thing is the retention rates. Do you see your clients renewing more than leaving? And what are the top three reasons why they're leaving? What are the top three reasons why they're choosing to stay? All these things need to be tabulated, recorded, analyzed, and then utilized to improve your service offerings. Question number 8. Do I have a plan for the next 3, 6, and 12 months? So, a lot of people will think about strategy as an extremely long term exercise, right? 1 year, 3 years, 5 years down the line. But reality is that the private security industry is so dynamic, that the threat landscape is so dynamic, the technologies are evolving so rapidly that things change fairly quickly. So, what you must do as a private security company owner is create a plan for the next quarter, which is the next 3 months, then for the next 6 months, and at best for the next 12 months. But do you have that plan? Most private security company owners who I know are focused only on operations and not strategy. And that becomes their undoing, because you, as the owner, as the CEO, as the leader of your private security company, should only be focused on strategy. But running a private security company is so ops heavy that before you know it, you are neck deep in firefighting. You are neck deep in tactical stuff to an extent where you don't get the time to think about strategy, to think about the big picture, right? And if you don't think about strategy, you will keep moving in the industry directionless. And even if you might end up succeeding, it will only be luck. You will not be able to replicate that success. So it has to be a conscious effort, a deliberate journey towards success. And that can only happen once you have strategy in your mind. So if you don't have a plan for the next 3, 6, 12 months, this is the time to leave everything else aside and focus on what you are going to do in the next 1 year. Question number 9, and it is extremely close to my heart, right? And by the way, if you made it this far in the video, congratulations. This really means that you have your intentions in the right place. Coming back to a question, it is, do I understand my responsibility as a security provider? Far too many people in the private security industry are in the industry just for money making opportunities. They do not care about what is at stake. You have to understand that the security industry is inherently different than any other industry. There is no margin for error here. At the end of the day, you are responsible for securing somebody's life, assets, or reputation, right? So the stakes are really, really high. And it is unlike any other industry that you can think of. So if you are responsible for somebody's life, are you putting in that kind of effort? If you are responsible for somebody's assets, are you ensuring that you don't falter? And that is where the next question comes in, which also is the last question. So, our 10th question is, are my security guards good enough? Think about it. Take a moment. And there are two aspects to consider. One is tied to question number 9. Are my security guards good enough? Are they trained in a way that they can handle the responsibilities that rest on their shoulders? So think about this. And if you can see gaps, address it. Because leave everything else aside. If you are in this industry, if you are a private security provider, then you must be true to your responsibility. The second aspect is that if your security guards are not good enough, it will impact your business sooner than later. So not only will you falter on your responsibility as a private security company, you will also end up losing business. And eventually you will have to shut shop. So because of these two aspects, you must ensure that more than anything else, your security guards are up to speed, because they are the face of your company, not you. Because they are the ones who are interacting with your end clients on a daily basis, not you. And you are only as good as your worst guard. So think about it. We at 360 PSA are helping ambitious and hungry private security companies find answers to these 10 questions and a lot more. So if you feel that these questions have given you enough food for thought and you need our help, you can reach out to us by going to our website, which is www.360psa.in. See you in the next video.